For the week of September 9th, where our motto is likely helpful, definitely entertaining. Good morning, Tanya. What are we talking about today?
Good morning, Paul. Holy moly, man. I think I need a caffeine, or you've had a little too many caffeines with that. Good morning.
Unfortunately, I haven't, which is weird.
Got it. Okay, Paul. Well, today we're going to talk, obviously, small businesses with idle debt have difficulties getting the financing they need. No kidding. SBA to host the third annual Small Business Cyber Summit during Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And we're going to have a little bit of a discussion on how to know if your lender or borrower is lying to you. Isn't it if they look up to the left? Or
Right. We're not going to go on that deep.
Yeah, something like that. So, yeah. Anyway, but first, I wanted to kind of just have a little discussion on the golf game. And you know me, I mean, I'm just kind of chatting here. So, I mean, I'm going to go all over the place, but I don't care. Anyway, so couple of things. One, I was at the BMW Championship and so thankful I was invited to go. I was in the nice suites on the 18th hole. So I got to see all kinds of amazing things on Saturday of the championship. Anyway, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, though, is golf in general and how golf, it's a gentleman's game. And no, I'm not going to go into the whole woman-man thing or anything like that. But meaning the gentleman game, because there's certain rules and restrictions and ideas. You're supposed to dress a certain way. You're supposed to use a certain gear. You're supposed to, act and behave a certain way on the golf course, right? Well, a couple of the golfers out there kind of stretched it a little bit. Now, I personally think that's freaking awesome. I mean, you guys know me. I do that all the time. A little bit of stretch isn't going to hurt anybody, right? But there was one that had on pants that were a little baggy, right? And then there was another that might have had on pants that, had the cinch around the ankle. and I'm not going to name names. I'm not doing that. But it was funny because a couple of the suites next to us, man, I just heard immediately they were just chatting about the pants and what these guys were wearing. And it just got me thinking a little bit about how, there's structure around golf. Yes. But when is it that, certain structures, whether it be golf or anything else, maybe could change or maybe could be stretched a little, or maybe they're outdated, that type thing. Now, I used to belong to a club, and I might get some heck for this, but I used to belong to a club for about 10 years and quit at the end of last year. But I remember when my boys were younger, we would get out on the par 3. Now, I'm talking the par 3, not the 18, the par 3. And we got out there one time. Nobody had their shirts tucked in. Now, I'm a female. Half the time I don't tuck my shirt in. If I do, it might be that little half tuck up front that looks cute, but I don't typically tuck it in, and I dang sure don't wear a belt. But anyway, so we get out there, and a cart pulls up and tells us, "Oh, you guys need to tuck in your shirts." I'm like, dude, it's the par 3. We're just having some fun.
Wow.
Whatever. So we tuck in our shirts. Well, that wasn't enough. 2 weeks later, a letter comes in the mail, and I had gotten a letter and reprimanded basically for not tucking in shirts. For me, I just find that a little, of a stretch, let's say. I get it on the 18. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that follows the rules and whatnot. But on a par 3, I was like, yeah, come on, man. But anyway, that's just one. The second is I was invited last week to play in Citywide Bank's Scramble tournament. And I got invited by a couple of dear friends. Well, one particularly would be Sean McGough over there. Invited me to play in his foursome. And it was awesome. We get out there, and there was 2 of them I knew well, because one was my team member at my work, right? And then one was Sean. Well, we get out there, and, they're behaving themselves and whatnot because of females around. Unbeknownst to them, I am like a guy's guy or whatever when I am on the golf course. Now, I worked construction for 4 years right out of high school, right? I did. Before I ever went to college, I worked like hard construction, concrete. And so I can hang with the best of them. And it depends on who you're around. And is it their job to kind of accommodate and make sure that they don't offend or whatever? Me, oh no, I took that right off the table. with my own behavior where the whole day just was a ball. Now, there was no HR, obviously, on that course, but it was a blast. We had so much fun. We actually came in 9 under, so that was respectable, but we did not win. Anyway, then on top of that, I want to go to all of this is coming to a head. Chase Jarvis, I found this online with one of his. He just gave us 7 lessons that you learn from golf. Now, 1, play it like it is. Keep a present mindset. Yes. Play with someone new. Disconnect from ego. Well, that one will get you on a golf course because that little ball is notorious for ticking you off, right? Learn from your mistakes. You're playing against the course, not yourself.
That's true.
Or your competition. You're playing against the course. And preparation is key. Now, the reason I say all that is golf is like business in so many ways, both in these rules that you come up with, because we all think that we're playing against our competition, and we aren't. We're playing really our own game against ourselves or with ourselves, not against the competition. So step outside your boundary lines. Wear your freaking ankle pants if you want to. Do something new, play with someone new, stretch yourself to a limit, because the competition isn't your competition. Where you're trying to reach is actually your competition. So anyway, I just thought that was a fun little thing for golf.
That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So I guess I can't wear yoga pants to the golf course. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not my previous golf course. Heck no,
no
man.
Kidding.
They
Good
might
Lord.
drag you off. No, I'm teasing. It's not quite that bad. I just thought that one was like kind of a little bit crazy.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, what you got for us?
Well, hey, jumping into the news, thank you to the Coleman Report and the Federal Reserve. There was an article about the share of 2023 respondents by EIDL debt status. And so what it talks about is, obviously during the pandemic, I had, obviously everyone got the cheap money, right? The 3.75 for 30 years. God knows I would grab it if I was a business owner. But what they are finding is it's harder to find lenders who are able to do that with that EIDL, because it's not necessarily the debt service, which even though it could in certain cases, but some of those, I mean, they're $2 to $5 million EIDL loans. Those are pretty meaty payments. And it's quite crazy to see what's going on there. So they say, although it's over, many small businesses are still carrying debt from the pandemic, which, again, why should they pay it off unless they need to? But it's becoming a big concern. The Federal Reserve Bank found that firms with an outstanding EIDL balance were less likely to be fully approved for funding in comparison to firms that never received EIDL. While having an EIDL is not the sole cause of the lower approval rates, the increased level of debt is weighing those small businesses down, not surprised. And small businesses with outstanding EIDL debt that were not fully approved for financing, half of them said that the elevated debt levels were the cause of the partial denials. Now, obviously, with SBA loans and what we're doing, we can obviously get a subordination pretty quickly.
Exactly.
But again, what is the debt service? How much did they take? Did they really need that? I have heard horror stories on how people have spent that money or have saved that money or maybe crypto that money. Like I could go on for days with the stories I've heard. And it's so, I mean, obviously for SBA lenders out there, we see that out there. If you do a lot of business acquisitions, clearly that needs to be paid off at closing, as we know. But just be careful out there, because the EIDL is definitely causing some issues. And when businesses are struggling, the question is, so what did you do with your EIDL money?
Yeah.
Because you never know.
You mean there's actually issues with things that went down during?
Weird, right?
No, that never happens. Are you
And
kidding?
sorry, one more fact on that too. 60% of small business owners that got an EIDL still have the EIDL debt. 60%.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's very separate.
Interesting.
It is interesting. Ay, ay, ay. Well, all right. Well, that's good to know. We'll have to keep track of that, especially in our industry. Okay, so next, the U.S. Small Business Administration announced that it will host its leading small business cyber summit on October 16th and 23rd. It's a free virtual cybersecurity series meant to equip America's 34 million small businesses with tools and resources to bolster their cybersecurity infrastructure. Now, this next part's pretty funny because there's a word in there that I just love. The rapidly changing landscape of the digital world poses new and evolving risks for small businesses. Fortunately, the SBA is poised to assist small businesses in preparing robust defenses to overcome these challenges and avoid costly disruptions, says Acting Associate Administrator for SBA's Office of Entrepreneurial Development, Aditi Dussault. Now, the SBA's Small Business Cyber Summit is designed to provide entrepreneurs with the expertise and resources necessary to ensure they're fully equipped to face these vexatious threats.
Ooh.
Vexatious. Isn't that a
Wow.
great word?
That's a
I've never
$100
used
word.
that word. I'm like, ooh, I learned a new word in this. Anyway, during the summit, we'll feature a wide range of tools, resources, and programming from the SBA's network of trusted experts, federal and state government partners, and other innovators across multiple industrial sectors. All right, well, thank you for that. Cyber attacks are a growing threat to small businesses and the U.S. economy and for the U.S. economy. According to FBI's Internet Crime Report, the cost of cyber crimes against the small business community reached $4.57 billion in 2023. Did you know that? Holy cow.
What?
A 38% increase from previous year. Small businesses are attractive targets because they have information I cannot say this word. Cyber criminals. Cyber criminals want, and they typically lack the security infrastructure of larger businesses.
Yep.
Now, many small business owners feel their businesses are vulnerable to a cyber attack, yet at the same time cannot afford any professional IT solutions. They have limited time to devote to cybersecurity. We all know this, or do not know where to begin. So the intent is that the third annual SBA Cyber Summit will address these formidable challenges with turnkey solutions. I think that's great. Now, if that's you, businesses out there, or any of the businesses that you know that might be in need, if you're a lender, make them aware of this valuable resource. I think it's a great idea. So,
I'm curious. Every single time I look at a insurance accord that comes through my desk on a deal, I look to see if there's cyber insurance. And do you know how many times I've probably seen it in the last 4 or 5 years? Zero.
I was like, I have never looked for that. So that's wonderful.
It's crazy, and it's only going to get worse. So, yeah, I'm not going to get on my soapbox from listen to last week. Get on my cyber box.
That's why I decided. Let's just take this a step further, man. And SBA obviously is noticing as well. So there you
go. Yep. So our third one we're going to talk about. We're just going to have a quick conversation about how to know if somebody is lying to you, and not just somebody, but maybe your lender or your borrower. Interesting, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone's honest, and every word that comes through anybody who hears mouth is always the truth.
I have some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell. Anybody want to buy it?
Right, and you use an EIDL loan to facilitate it, right?
So I already did that.
Right? We give out money, and money makes people do things like lying. It really does, and especially so. What are some of those things that are out there that you should kind of keep an eye on? Different stories. I have caught borrowers in different stories at times, and in my opinion, out of the 5 C's of credit, the number one and most important is character, in my opinion. And if you are lying to me when it comes to if I have to take you to court, you are absolutely going to lie on the stand. So, different stories, be careful of that. Excessive detail. This one I think is interesting. Because, you have some of those borrowers that are just chatty Cathys.
Right.
and they just give you too much information. But at the same point too, I just like to shut up and listen to them talk, because sometimes that
you pick up on things for sure.
Uh-huh. So I'm not sure if I agree with that one, but yeah. Avoiding the question, also known as politics. Refusing to answer the question directly or changing the subject can be a red flag. Well, yeah, of course. Have you ever had that happen, Tanya? I'm
Never.
sure. Never.
No. All of my borrowers across the board, the entire time I've ever given a loan out, none have lied to me.
Repetition. Repeating the same phrase or story multiple times might indicate they're trying to convince themselves of it. Interesting. Defensiveness. Woohoo! Do I love that one? So, of course, we do annual reviews. Sorry, quick side story. We do annual reviews, and on one of our restaurants that we have, we pull up every county has their own reporting. If are you excellent or okay or great or based on your last food service review. So we look those up, and it's really important. And one had need improvement, and so we reached out to the borrower and asked, "Hey, what's going on with this?" Their response was, "We're handling it." Click. Oh, character. Okay. Good to know. So defensiveness, it was one.
Well, and that goes across the board. I think that goes both ways, but definitely with your borrowers. And I tell my team this all the time, how people act with you and brokers or anybody up front, how they act with you in the beginning before they've ever gotten a loan is the best they will ever be to you.
That is correct. So if they're an a-hole at the front, you got it.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. So,
last but not least, blaming others. Good Lord, if you have children.
Personal responsibility, peeps.
Shifting blame into somebody else. Avoid taking responsibility.
Yeah.
So just kind of an interesting thing that I wanted to run by there, because I guarantee you we are lied to so many times a day. And here is a fun fact that I actually learned when I was doing my banking school. The average person lies 26 times a day.
Holy moly.
Right.
So then liars do 260 times a day.
Right. So there we go.
Yeah, Paul lies every day when he's like, "Oh, you look nice today." Okay. All righty. Well, thank you. That was a fun one, actually, because it's absolutely true, and you can take that across the board, whether it be personal or business. But anyway, if you want the news as soon as it breaks, you can watch it here and or on YouTube. Or I guess LinkedIn or YouTube. And if you're ridiculously busy, you can pick it up on any of the platforms where you get or any of the streaming platforms where you get your podcasts. If you've got something for us to talk about, we'd love to hear from you. Either message Paul or I on LinkedIn and or shoot us an email at sbatoday@artofsba.com. And last but not least, if you're a passionate SBA professional, don't forget to check out the other family podcasts that we have, the BDO Show and the Art of SBA Lending. And that's it for us here on SBA Today. You go make it a great day.
See you later.